There are a handful of these reports, of these cases, that I find incredibly compelling. One of which is Travis Walton.
Okay. Tell people about this guy who aren't familiar with
Snowflake,
that story.
Arizona, 1975. I believe it was 75. You can correct me on that one.
Great mustache.
Yeah, great
Guy's
mustache.
got a strong mustache.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of lumberjacks out in Snowflake, Arizona. They were under government contract. They were working late. They were trying to get this job done. I think they were clearing trees for fire hazards, stuff like that. And they worked after hours, and the sun was down, and they were like on a dirt road. It was one of those trucks that had 4 doors, that they had 7 people in the truck. I think it was like 3 in the front and 4 in the back. And they see what they thought initially was a fire. And they were like, damn, it was like a fire. It was a really bright light. There's a movie made about it by a guy named Tracy Torme. I think he wrote it and produced it, directed. No, he didn't direct it.
Fire in the Sky?
Fire in the Sky. And they see what they thought was a fire in the sky. And as they got closer, they realized it was no fire. It was this. I talked to a lot of the witnesses. One of the witnesses said to me, and it was not Travis. Travis will talk about it as well. He actually put it on a piece of paper. He scribbled it for me on a. All right, so I'll tell you. I'll get to that in a second. So he said, one of the witnesses said to me, and he was working at like a Walmart, and I went and interrupted him because I just had to talk to as many of the other witnesses. There were 7 guys, and I think 2 or 3 of them have died since. So I talked to him, and he goes, James, have you ever seen like a brand new Corvette? Right? And I'm like, where is this going? You ever seen like it's brand new on the showroom floor? I was like, yeah. He goes, it was better than that. It was more perfect. You know, and then he was just describing this thing, and I could see it in his eyes. He was reliving this experience. Like, wow. Like Carlos de Souza at the crash site and Moment of Contact. Like, you could just see it. It's like their eyes are open, but they're just he was reliving it. And he was like, it was like a brand new Corvette. You know, it was like, wow. So anyway, Travis, 7 guys, Travis goes to get out of the truck and wants to run towards this thing. It's lower than treetop. It's right there. You get hit it with a rock. And Travis jumps out of the truck, and all the guys were like, stop it, Travis, what are you doing? Get back in the car. And Travis he was like, I want to get closer to this thing. He's running towards it against the will of everybody in the truck. They're all screaming at him, like, the hell are you doing? And it starts making a spooling up, like it's preparing to do something. It's like some kind of sound is spooling up. That's what they all said. Travis suddenly he thought that he was going to start running towards this thing and it was going to just take off. It didn't do that. It was making a spooling up sound, but he was getting like uncomfortably close to this thing. At which point it starts to make this spooling up sound. Travis gets cover behind a fallen tree, like a log on the ground. He braces himself. He gets down low and he's kind of hovering. And then he decides, he's like, holy shit, this thing is doing something. And like this. And he's like, and they're screaming at him, get back over here, get over here. So he gets up from behind the log to make a run for the truck. And some kind of like force field hits him, knocks him like a Raggedy Ann doll, dude. He flies like 60 feet back. He looks like a Raggedy Ann doll.
His head?
Don't know. He flew backwards. Flew back like a Raggedy Ann doll is how they described it. They hit the gas. The driver hits the gas pedal, leaves Travis for dead. Leaves
Great
Travis
friend.
for dead. Yeah, I know.
Fuck off, Travis.
He's thinking we're next. He hits the gas pedal. They get like maybe a half a mile or a mile down the road, and they're screaming and arguing in the car. And the driver's like, I have got to go back. I cannot leave him out there. We have to go back. We're getting out. We're not going to go back. Don't go back. So he says, well, I'm going back. I don't care what you guys do. You guys can stay here for all I care. I'm going back. So they all decided, look, we're better off sticking together. So let's stick together. So they stayed in the truck. They went back. UFO gone. Travis gone. So now these guys are going down to the authorities, right? 6 of them, because I guess there were 7 in all. Travis is gone. So
like to report 6. An alien abduction?
Exactly. So they go down to the authorities and they tell them what happened. Of course, the
Stick 'em in the drunk tank.
Yeah, they tell them what happened, and they're all under pretty much suspicion of murder. So now it's a murder case. They killed.
They went right there.
Absolutely. So they get the dogs to go find the body. They're like, you killed him. You buried him. We're all going to go find him. So they start this intensive manhunt. Excuse me. I don't know how many days it goes on for, but days. Travis, 5 days later, 6 days later, reappears. He's on the outskirts of town. He's not where he was picked up. He's on the outskirts of town. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this story is because this is something that intrigued me and puzzles me. And this, you look at what the phenomenon does, but you also look at what the phenomenon doesn't do. If they had dropped him off in downtown, well, back up. If they had dropped Travis off, and I've been there twice, we're talking the middle of nowhere. If they would have dropped Travis off where they picked him up, he would have died. He would have never made it back alive.
Why?
It's too far. It's the middle of nowhere, freezing cold.
There's nothing out there. There's not one person out there.
Not one person. Okay, I've been there twice. I'm speaking from being there.
And it's cold in November in Arizona?
He was in the middle of nowhere. Trust me, he would not have made it back. He was already weak.
Okay.
So he gets dropped off on the outskirts of town. Now, if they would have dropped him off where they picked him up, he wouldn't have made it. Chances are he would not have made it. Okay, I don't even know how many days he'd been without food. He was weak, and but he doesn't get dropped off in town because if they dropped him off in town, the likelihood of them being seen, they would have exposed themselves. They dropped him off in an area that was like kind of down in a valley. Came down, and the first thing that he remembers, he woke up. He was on the ground, and he looked up and he saw the craft taking off above him, and it was right near a phone booth, and he makes the call, and all the rest is history. But I always think to myself, they cared about his well-being. Maybe it wasn't an abduction. Maybe it was them. Maybe he got exposed to the force field of the propulsion of that craft, and that knocked him back like a Raggedy Ann doll, and it stopped his heart.
They wanted to be like, you good?
Yeah, so they took him aboard and they brought him back to life, and then they dropped him off on the outskirts. So maybe they accidentally hurt. Maybe he got too close and they didn't shoot a ray beam and try to kill him.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.